That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. And when I'm back at you with another live stream. For the folks tuning in, let me know if the audio is sounding about right. 'Cause I want to make sure this is on point. Had some technical difficulties earlier, and I got a special guest, and everything needs to be on point because I'm real anxious. And my anxiety is kicking in. It got to be on point. I gotta, I can't be fumbling. It's one thing if I'm fumbling and it's just me, but when I got a guest in the house, uh, the homegirl, we go way back, and things, we grow, we do better, we know better, we do better, we make life changes, we evolve, we make progress. That's what it's all about. Focusing on what's really important and bettering ourselves. And we have this you know internet communication thing where you get to talk to people across the country, all around the world, and get to know people over the years. And I'm gonna bring in the homegirl, Ashley W. We've been rocking on this YouTube thing for some years now. You know what? Enough of all that. Here she go.
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up?
What up, Ashley?
How you doing?
I am good.
Good.
Let the folks know a little bit about yourself. We can talk good old times and good new times.
All right. So about me, my name is Ashley. Like AM1 just said, I'm from Chicago. About I would say maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer than that. Now that I really think about it, I started a YouTube channel where I just like really just got on here, just talking the most random stuff I could think about, whatever was on my mind. I pretty much came on here and talked about, and I did that for a few years. Learned a lot, grew a lot doing that. Kind of took a step back. Um, I won't say that I'm like reintroducing myself or like coming back at this full time or anything, but I'm definitely want to figure out how to give back in the way that I now see more fitting, which is more health and wellness, which is a more holistic view of how you should look at yourself and how you should look at the world, essentially, because it's not just these one or two things that we have to consider, it's everything. And I think that that's the space that I'm in now.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's been some years and we got this technology. Then we got to really think about, speaking to people about different topics, the multifaceted nature of life and all the things we have to deal with. And then it's like, maybe you agree with this, just really taking inventory on if we're going to talk to people out here in this world, what really are we putting out here in this world? And
Correct.
you
Absolutely.
know, as well as I know, it's a lot of hurt and broken people out here in this world. And you give people a microphone and give them a cell phone and give them the ability to press go live and be heard. And then it's like, oh, if you resonate with their pain or their pleasure or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's tends to be more of the resonating or the resonance with people's pain.
Right.
What do you
Right.
think?
I completely agree. And I think had I not been doing YouTube, I would not even be able to even comprehend that statement. I'm being dead ass. Like, you have to be putting yourself out here in a situation where you actually have direct contact with people and the ability to influence people to even understand the depths in which what you say can affect somebody, especially when you have one of these types of platforms.
Well, okay, you raise an interesting point there, right? Because the real world impacts versus what happens online. I've noticed online, like the phrase keyboard warrior, or the idea that there's anonymity or
Mhm.
distance. You're not right up in somebody's face like in the streets. So people are more inclined to just get it in and just say whatever, to the point where there might not be nothing coming back their way. What do you think about that? Where people will just really get wild online and just really kind of let it all hang out to maybe the detriment of the audience. What do you think?
I think that I do. I agree. I do think people just come on here and say whatever, but I want people to understand that it's not just to the detriment of the audience; it's to the detriment of them as well. Because it's only so long that you're going to be able to say certain things and then not believe it. Like, you can't say that this whole group of people is trash and then say, well, I'm just gonna be the one that say I'm just saying it, but I don't agree. No, you're starting to agree, and it's going to start reflecting in your life, whether you believe it or not. That's what's happening. And I think that that's the danger of this online world. Sometimes is that people don't understand that, like, even though this is online and that there is a certain degree of separation, it does still affect the individual, not only the person in listening, but the person putting it out as well.
For sure. Right. And I would argue, I mean, let's get a little deeper into that, right? Discussions online about particular topics. I mean, maybe there's the idea, and we know this to be true. Some people are harping on certain topics because they figured out they can profit from it, right? Because they're
Mhm.
literally profiting from other people's pain and rage. And I've seen people do it. And I've interacted with sort of the what could be described as black YouTube, black manosphere, red pill space. And I've pointed the finger at and made note of people who have openly admitted that they're willing to monetize people's pain, other black men's pain, while claiming to be advocates for their betterment. And I don't know, I'll let you speak to it, but have you seen similar things on the women's side of things?
It's been so long since I listened to that type of YouTube, but I will say when I was, absolutely, um, people, is actually quite disturbing, because to me, to say that I'm willing to put out a bunch of information or put out a bunch of stuff that can not only be the detriment of everybody that's listening to it, but to possibly myself, and do it anyway just because it's a little bit of money in it, it kind of shows what type of person you are. And I'm gonna I'll be the first to say it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And because, like I said earlier, I'm looking at this from a holistic standpoint, I can't help but to think about the type of karma you might be putting on yourself, what on a spiritual level you might be doing with yourself, because you're willing to put out a bunch of negative information or put out a bunch of stuff that's actually harming people to their core. Like, their very core of their being can be affected by what you're saying, and you're not realizing that. You're messing yourself up karmically, to me. But it's not for me to decide. I mean, it's already been decided for you.
I mean, you raised an interesting point there, right? Like, what's impacting someone at the time that's making them even willing to go put out less than positive, productive vibes? And some people are making like actual legitimate arguments, but then to the point where it's kind of hit people over the head with that day in and day out. Maybe make a little bit of money from it, get a little bit of fame from it, a little bit of attention. You brought up the karma thing, but I would say it's almost like instant karma. One, something is making you gravitate to that, and then the idea of make a little bit of money off of sort of helping these kind of negative vibes proliferate more. It speaks to where that person is at. In other words, are you that broke that you got to sit online and do this? So there's that.
Right. Right.
It's
Or
easy
you don't.
money. But
Right.
then I would argue this from even sort of to the karma standpoint. Like, you're not creative enough to do something else. You don't have anything else going on in your life that's where you can speak on a hobby, some kind of expertise, knowledge base. It got to be, let's just talk about what the opposite sex ain't doing and let's get people mad. And obviously, we're going into this because me and you met through what is considered Black YouTube, and we've interacted for many, many years. So we've been going back. So this is wild, super dope to have you here after all these years. And we're going to get into how, and I don't want to speak for you, but speaking for myself, how things should progress. And when you make certain growth milestones in understanding to the point you made, you don't know if you want to really, come back consistently or whatever. But I think, and I speak for us both when I say, if you're going to talk to people, can we steer it in the direction of adding some kind of real world value? I mean, come on,
Correct.
people.
I wholeheartedly agree. So to kind of interweave it into the just the topic of hand, just to even as far as diets, I strongly believe, and I'm becoming very, very strongly convinced that a lot of the reason why people are not creative anymore, why people can't think of anything to do, is because of their eating habits. We eat terrible food all day, every day, and we wonder why we can't think straight.
Uh oh. All right.
And I'm saying this from a point of view where I've been doing that particular work and my brain is opening up because I'm not stuffing my face every chance I get. Y'all got to stop eating sometimes. Maybe your creativity will start flowing. I'm just saying.
Okay, so let's go there. You took it there. We was gonna go there. You took it there, and I'm with you, and I'm ready to go there. But we're gonna take the arrows because we can talk, you know, substance abuse, food, overeating, addiction, literally overdosing on food, and the detrimental
Mhm.
effects that has. But then you already know what it is, or not to put words in your mouth. You know that there's some people who, if you start talking about you're eating too much, you really need to watch what you eat, they will come for you. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. Whenever I do anything, like as a matter of fact, these days, when it comes to what I'm doing as far as my diet, I don't even tell nobody unless they're asking, or
Mm.
unless I know they're the type of people that's not going to be telling me what they can't do, trying to influence me because they're not strong enough within themselves to understand what they're fully capable of. But yes, people do not like me when I tell people, yeah, I had to stop eating that. I had to stop eating that. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Literally, I can't do it is some of the first words out of people's mouths. Not only when talking about stop eating so much, fasting, hey, why don't you just skip a meal? These are things that literally people will tell me bold face to my face. I can't do that with all the vitriol in their heart telling me about what they can't do. And it's sad. It's absolutely sad.
There's that part, what they can't do, but then almost because it's a mirror reflection of some kind of energy thing, right? Maybe it's a deeper
Mm-hmm.
spiritual level thing, but they see that, like, whoa, I see that. I see the power in that, but I know I can't get like that. I'm not there. So now I kind of got to take you down a peg. You're kind of an enemy to me because you're making me feel some kind of way. Maybe if you're getting people's psychology with that, their psyche, their energy, but to the point where they're like, they want to start really trying to take you down a peg or knock you down. Like, oh, who do you think you are? You think you, or, oh, you're crazy or you're weird because you're, I don't know, you didn't eat today. You fasting. You gonna get skinny. You gonna get sick. Just figuring out a way to like low key player hate what you're doing. Like, have you
Right.
experienced that? Because I've
Yeah.
experienced that a lot.
Yeah, like so whenever like I'm doing like my juicing or anything like that, or like any sort of fasting, the first things that come out of people's mouth is, "Oh, you gonna get too skinny. You gonna look sick. Oh, you not eating enough. You not gonna get out everything you need in a day. Oh, and all this other type of stuff that like brings up these that I guess would be trying to bring up these fearful emotions about my health when it's like you're not realizing the detriments that I'm doing to my health by the things that I'm doing. So I can't have it both ways. Either I'm going to do the right thing or I'm not and be like you. I'm sorry, I kind of don't want I don't want to live that life no more. Like it's frustrating and it's exhausting. To be
Okay, so I made a note of it. The point of you don't really offer, have the discussions. You kind of wait till people ask you, and I want to
frank.
go back to that too because
Mhm.
that's a strategy I had to kind of adopt more. And for years, people have been asking me, "Hey, what do you do? You look young." Blah blah blah. I don't know if you wanted to say how my face looks or just in general my overall energy. You look young, or I haven't seen you in a while. You're in good shape, or what do you be doing? Or like male friends of mine, man, what you be doing? I got this fat stomach. Your stomach is flat. How do you stay like that? How do you keep it like that? I'm okay, cool. You're asking me. But before I get into that, I gotta click on this comment right here from Mr. because we was talking about this whole thing where people want to kind of low key player hate on your strategies, and he said this. This is wild. Shout out to Mr. One of my day ones from way back in the day, but he said, and I'm hella mad that I never thought of this or thought to say it, but instead of misery loves company, obesity loves company.
And that sounds like some true shit. That sounds so real because, like,
Obesity loves
seriously,
company. That's
I
like a
mean,
t-shirt, damn near, or a
right.
meme or something.
And I mean, like, think about it. Like, think about anybody that you know. Like, if you know a group of people and one of them starts saying, I want to lose weight, everybody else in the group, why you want to do that? You look fine. You look. Oh, when I was 160 some pounds, 150 some pounds, Ash, I say I'm getting fat. I need to start losing some weight. You look fine, girl. I'm like, but you don't know how I feel. How you? I can understand that you think I look okay, but I don't feel okay. And what's more important, how I feel or how I look?
Yeah, because I mean, and I talk about that a lot because well, for sure, and people in the audience know, getting into this extension of the kind of work I do, videography, visual media production, consulting, right? So being a fitness nerd slash enthusiast, can I consult on that and add that as an extension of the work I already do? So let's take the fitness, health, diet, and incorporate that into the visual media. Let's build a brand around that. Getting into that realm, one of the biggest things is the psychological impacts surrounding the idea of diet and eating. And with that, it gets deeper, deeper, deeper because then there's the whole social tie and connection, familial connection to food and people's trauma and pain surrounding food and diet and all that, to the point where if you're around a bunch of people and you guys all move the same way, then it's all friend, friend, buddy, buddy, or maybe even frenemy, weird hater kind of vibe stuff. Or and then when one person decides to start making some changes or do better, then we get this kind of crabs in a barrel kind of mentality of like, no, who you? How dare you try to start doing better? Or, you know, from a personal subjective standpoint, you could say, I don't like how I feel, or I'm trying to make certain changes, lose weight, and somebody's like, whoa, there's that mirror thing, right? I don't want to have to like match that energy, or you're ruining this vibe that we all share where we're just all just us and we just don't start trying to raise the bar. So I gotta like take you down a peg, or you look fine, but how do I feel? Well, I don't care how you feel. Don't throw off the vibe of the group. Like, how does that?
Yeah, and because and like when you think about it, you talk about the social dynamics. Think about how most of us eat. We thrive on eating in groups. We thrive on going out. We thrive on eating with our family. When it's most times that we overeat the most. These holidays, when you out with your family and you out with everybody else, overeating, doing too much, and it gets easy to fall into those runts. Like I know many people probably can relate to this. When you in a relationship, how many of y'all gain weight? Because y'all started getting comfortable.
Uh
Y'all started
oh.
eating together. Now y'all snacking together. Now y'all doing these things
Uh
together.
oh.
Now waistbands are expanding. That happened to me a couple years ago. I had lost all this weight, got all excited, and then started getting all stressed and gained all that shit right back.
That's a big deal. And that's an interesting one, right? Because again, interacting with online spaces where issues with the opposite sex comes up relative to dating and whatnot, arguments and disagreements on either side. And then you start looking at to the point you kind of led in with, looking at moving forward relative to what are people eating? How is that impacting their mind? And I did stream earlier talking about that. Eat fake food, build a fake body, have a distorted mind, uh, build a fake body, have imbalanced hormones. If you want to talk about the whole gender, sex, reproduction, attraction thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just make it real clear for people. If you eat fake food, expect distorted thoughts and fake outcomes. And
Right.
then on the relationship side, because people care about that so much, like, oh, I gotta find my boo, right? Well, if you eat fake food, build a fake body, fake hormones, fake biological process, fake attraction. Expect fake attraction. Expect
Right.
the chaos that comes with that, to the point where it's like, own that. Right. And then, yeah, the other social dynamics, your friend groups, your peer groups, they're going to be a reflection of the people you're around. And then the flip side of that is, well, when you take on a certain empowered level of leadership and start leading by example, some people start to feel some kind of way about that.
Right.
What do we do about that?
I say leave them alone.
Uh-oh.
I'm not. I like sometimes like because I'm all about my wellness right now, my mental health. And that means identifying and figuring out everything I can about myself, why I react to situations and all this. And mind you, a lot of this stuff has really been coming to the surface and really been allowed to do what it need to do when I fast. Okay. Notice I said that. So I'm saying leave the people alone because I'm willing to acknowledge that that might be my anxious attachment kicking in and saying just drop people. But at the same time, you have to understand that if somebody isn't supporting you, perhaps that's not somebody you go to about that particular topic. I'm not going to say drop them completely, but maybe that's not something you talk to that person about. That's it. You don't have to talk like you got a best friend, whatever, whatever. We talk about everything. But when I talk about this, it makes this person uncomfortable. When I talk about this, it makes this person whatever, whatever. Then don't talk to them about it. You know you're not going to get any real information. You know you're not going to get anything that you actually need from that conversation. So why have it? You've already figured that out. So stop. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of gems to that. And the way I'm at with it, I'm so much about quality over quantity. And I've unfortunately, for better for worse, to some advantage, had to deal with a lot of fake frenemy-ish kind of stuff my whole life. And people like, acting one way, switching up. So I'm kind of okay with being like, wait, I can't talk to you about really building on something.
Right.
Then I kind of gotta keep at a distance because that's kind of weird. So I'm okay with kind of dropping somebody or just letting them fade away or whatever. And the way my life and lifestyle is now, it's pretty refined to the point kind of where I don't know. Most stuff people are interested in. People say, "What you been up to? Working and working out." Well,
Right.
what do you do for fun? It's like
Read.
a work out, read, get learn. But I mean, I'm a videographer. I shoot events. I do all kind of different stuff. So a lot of my fun is already sort of baked into the work and working out. So I said halfway jokingly, and then building a career. I genuinely love working out. Like it's hard for me to take a rest day. That's part of my. So what do you do for self care, aka the code words for essentially just fucking off and just having fun. What do you
Right.
do for
Going
self care?
right. What am I doing that's spending money on myself and calling it self-care?
Somebody just asked me that the other day. What do you do for self care? I'm like, but then the same people will be like, oh, you look good. What you been up to? I'm like, yeah, the sacrifice. I don't know, the perfect setup to where my fun is directly rooted in things that are like hella healthy for me. Imagine that at
Right.
45. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not doing this whole get to your 40s, mid 40s age thing, fall apart, beer belly, super lame, could barely stand up, knees are hurting, chronic this, that, and the third, and all the other way worse issues that that befall some middle-aged men. I'm a middle-aged man. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Shout out to Raphael, who's always coming in the comments with the effery, and I'm with it. He's always here for it. I come in doing videos about diet and streams and food, and he come in with this type of foolishness almost without fail. But shout out for the 10 on the super chat. Super chat, definitely. If y'all got a question for myself or Ashley, hit the super chat because I gotta pay her big bucks to be here. She don't just show up for nothing. You understand? And one, I need help, Maine. Not man, Maine. I just did it again. I ate 2 extra large pizzas because the other day he had some Subway kind of sandwiches, some wild 2 extra large pizzas and another 3, not a 2-liter, a 3-liter Coke with a bump of Coke. Like you fam, you just the toxification. So like, can we do either or? Like the pizza or the Coke or the other Coke? Like leave one of those Cokes out, maybe. He said I can't see my feet. He's stupid. I always get the comic relief from Mr. Williams here. I appreciate that. And we got Super Sly in the chat. Oh, so we got like classic hey, Super Sly in the building. Hey, y'all remember this woman? She used to talk. Oh, wow. Oh, she used to talk hella greasy about blue collar men. Oh no.
I
Oh
swear these
no.
Negroes, this like one statement and Negroes won't let shit die. One
Oh man.
statement and Negroes will not let shit die.
He
Oh my
said,
God. And guess what? Guess what, AM1? I still stand by every last fucking word. You stand like drinking right downstairs. You are not gonna be at work a no damn factory job thinking you about to get Beyonce. I said it, I meant it, and I meant it, and I still meant it. Like, come on now. Beyonce, get over it.
shout out to
Bitches like
Super Sly.
Beyonce don't want you. Get over it. Like, come
He dropped that
on.
comment, then
Why
he came
y'all
back with
so
a super chat
ass
saying, well, here was funny though, because I read that Ashley goes off on it, and then meanwhile, she still talked crazy about blue collar men or nah, and then she stood on it and was like, "Yeah, well,
I
is it?
just stand on
Wait,
my
hold
stance.
on, super slide. Is it really? If that's the statement, because I'm not sure what Ashley said back then, but what you just said now, I don't know if I can argue with it. From an objective standpoint, let's take the male female out of it. From what I know about life and reality and my experiences with women, yeah, certain blue collar positions aren't. You're not gonna pull a super duper dime like a Beyonce or something. I don't know. What do you think, Sly? Mr.
And it
Mister
was
in the
not no
building.
back and forth. We did a show and he said that stupid shit. And I was like, and his audience went off because I knew what type of audience he was. And I left it alone. And because when I started making videos after that, that's all anybody ever wanted to talk about. It's time for me to go. Like, cause that just went to show me the pettiness of what YouTube was and why I didn't appreciate it and why I started realizing to the depths of my soul the type of shit that people don't realize about what this is. So yeah. Like,
Okay. Right. And so that's an interesting point, right? Because yeah, right. Not gender war BS.
oh yeah,
Right. That's why part of this whole thing was again, we go back years and we've been cool for years. We don't agree on everything, which you don't have to agree on everything with every person, blah, blah, blah. But we've been cool for years. And I think it's dope to be able to have that, what do I say? Light speed communication across the country, around the world, and be able to talk with people, compare notes, share ideas, hopefully something that's positive in building. And I know you've been coming off and on this thing for a while. You have your opinions about men dealing with men, women. So do I, whatever. We don't have to agree on everything. But at the very least, if you're moving forward in a direction where you're making lifestyle changes and even career path changes that are of benefit to yourself, to your daughter, because you being a mom, and that anybody else can take a page out of your book, I'm kind of more interested in that than,
right.
I don't know, something you said about some dude a few
Years
years
ago.
ago.
Right.
I
I
don't know.
look,
Unless you said something absolutely egregious in some kind
no,
of way.
no, I don't think so. But that's why the pettiness of what this was and why I said like I don't think that people understand how things can be taken when you're on these sorts of platforms. And the fact that I said something that people took and let go all the way left, and even still to this day, because had Super Slide not even said nothing, I'm pretty sure that never would even came up in conversation. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it's like, why can't like, and I'm starting to believe and starting to think that it's maybe even something in that to the food that we eat and the fat cells and all the things that we store in our cells that don't allow certain thoughts and perspectives and certain things to die. Because if you're eating a bunch of fucked up food and you're eating doing a bunch of stuff and you're holding on to a bunch of stuff, and on a cellular level you're holding on to a bunch of stuff, it makes it easy for you to stay negative. It makes it easy for you to stay in negative spaces, a negative space of thought, a negative space of being, of feeling, of everything, because you don't even realize how much of that negative energy is even being stored within every cell of your body.
I would have to agree with that. Now, here's the thing. Super Sly's my guy. We go way back too, and he showed me a lot of love. So, just to a certain degree, I want to highlight this a little bit because, again, we all don't have to agree on certain things. I'm sure if all three of us were in the same room, and I'm entertaining this part of it more because this is a part of this thing where we have this capability to interact with each other, different people from different parts of the world, and we can build or potentially destroy. But I'm more interested in the progress, the growth, and changes. And I've seen myself, Super Sly, Ashley grow over the years because I've literally interacted with these people over the years. So I'll say that to say, in the growth in these interactions, let's talk about where we're growing and look at
Right.
the things we do agree on and look at how we can use that to move forward. And let's do the communication thing where we broadcast to people across the world, but let it add some value. So, to that point, this is why I wanted to have Ashley come on here because the content lately that I've been seeing from Ashley has been kind of diet oriented, diet strategy, health strategy, and I'm moving more into that energy myself because I'm just super interested in that. So I just made like this little graphic, even just for the purposes of when I was talking to Ashley about doing this. Like I'm seeing her content as of late in what she's doing, and it's in alignment with myself. So I'm like, let's talk about that. All whatever aside, whatever we agree on, don't agree on from sort of the good old fun days of sort of black YouTube. Let's talk about this because this is the wave of the future and the wave of the past, without a doubt. That sounds cliche, a funny thing to say, but to the point of negative things in this world, people holding on to different things. The diet thing for sure. What actually just broke down, holding on to that from like a cellular standpoint, an energy standpoint, without a doubt. I did a stream earlier talking about people excess body fat, body weight, body fat, but how your body is holding on to chemicals and the makeup of it and the distortions that come from that, people's brains, people's minds, thinking, hormones, attraction, all that. So I want to move forward more with how do we correct these things
Mhm.
and how do we make content and make it cool to have these discussions in a peaceful way as opposed to sort of the back and forth bickering ish kind of situation, right?
Right. Well,
And go ahead,
no,
Ash.
I'm sorry.
I'm
You can
going. I'm gonna
continue your thought.
a little bit.
Well, okay. So I was just gonna say, well, I think that the way that we start opening those discussions up is by having them. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't be afraid to have the conversations just because it's still way too many people that aren't ready to have the conversation. Because like let's be real, sometimes we're not here for the people that's not ready. We here for the people that's are ready. We're here for the people that want to hear the information, that's ready to make changes. Because I mean, let's be real, that's the encouraging part of to me, that's the encouraging part about even being on YouTube, is knowing that I'm helping people go into a better direction. Like we can't stay still forever. Like you can, but you know, but everything else is moving on without you, right? Like so, it's like that type of mindset that I've been really trying to hone in on. So I'll start and I'll just segue in that to my current preferred diet strategy. Um, so with that being said, right now I've been doing a lot of fasting. I just came off of a rolling 72 juice fast, meaning I did water, tea, and juice for 3 days and ate for a day. And that usually turned into like a 90 something hour fast because I will only eat between a certain amount of hours on that day that I was able to eat. And that's pretty much what I'm doing now. My current strategy is just to continue to fast and continue to detox my body so that I am letting go of the excess fat, letting go. And since I'm doing some of the more, I would say, severe fasting because I'm deciding to go days and days at a time, um, I am really working on, the mindset, what like you what some people may not know. If you have never done a long-term fast, meaning more than a day or two, you start getting more clarity of thought, clarity of mind. Your body starts feeling better, your gut starts feeling better, your bowel movements will start being better. Like everything about any issues that you may have will start to eliminate themselves almost immediately. Especially if they just surface level, like you got some heartburn, indigestion, a little bloated. A lot of that stuff will go away within the first day or two, 3 days of you not consuming any food. And if you start back eating again and you're eating good things, you will still avoid those that bloated, that indigestion, a lot of those things. So I say, and it's been my strategy for a long time. Actually, I think this is the reason why I've never like really, really got too big, is because I fasted. Once I discovered fasting, I would just fast. I would dry fast. I would just intermittent fast. Any sort of fasting I can do, I would do it. Now it's just taking it up a notch.
Wow. So because people are asking certain questions,
Mhm.
and I just want to go into this though and to clarify this because I'm big on this whole fasting thing. It was
Mhm.
super fascinating. I've been fasting, try different strategies, intermittent fasting, some extended fast for over a decade. And in the last 4 years, even more, in the last 6 months, even more, because I've been dialing in the diet along with the fasting, intermittent fasting, extended fasting to the point of I basically gamified the whole thing, but along with my diet strategy and the benefits I'm having and essentially reverse aging. But rolling 72-hour fast. So that's 3 days to
Mhm.
clarify for the people who didn't do the math. So 3 days, and you said you're doing tea, water, juice,
Yep.
and then you do a refeed day.
Yep. But it starts at 12 p.m. So it's still like that intermittent type fasting type of deal where you eat between a certain amount of hours. Like they technically with the group that I did it with, the refeed days were from like 12 p.m. to 12 p.m. the following day. But like I said, I usually never ate that second day. I just, whatever I ate on the technical refeed day, that was all I ate.
So on the refeed day at,
Mhm,
let's say, 12 noon, 12
mhm,
p.m.,
mhm,
you're essentially breaking the what was essentially a 3 day, 72-hour fast because I see it's overlapping. Um, so you start at noon, go 3 days, break the fast on noon, whatever that refeed day is.
mhm.
How much are you eating that day on the refeed day, and how are you spacing that meal or those meals out?
So typically, I was just doing one meal a day. And because like you said, I have a daughter, I would try to eat my meals with her because obviously I'm not with her all day. I mean, the least we could do is eat a meal together sometimes. So I would eat my meal with her. So that would always end up being a little late for me, but I did it anyways, just because that's how I wanted to work it out for myself. But that would usually be the only meal I ate, and that would be like around 5 or 6 o'clock, and that would be all I would eat
So just that one meal on the fast refeed day. So
on
you
the
break the
refeed day.
fast,
Yep,
essentially OMAD, and then cycle right back into another 3 days.
yep. That's why it ended up being a lot of 90-hour days, 90 hours more than it was 72.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do this because I got more that I want to understand and frame it for the audience. But this question will tie into it perfectly in a interesting sort of way. Let's see how this works. Throw a grenade. Tyrone comes in and says, "I just came in, but what's her take on low carb and carnivore and alternate day fasting?"
Um, Low carb is fine. You need carbs. Just know you need carbs. You can never really cut out all the carbs. You need a little carbs. They do give you energy. Carnivore. Um, I still eat meat every now and again, but I honestly do suggest that people start cutting back. Like you do not need to eat meat with every single meal like we've been trained to do. You can get rid of, like you don't have to eat it every day. You can, give it up a day or two and you'll be perfectly fine. Um, so like that sort of thing is great. Alternate day fasting, anything with fasting, I'm always going to be a fan of. Honestly. So um I say with fasting, I also say do what works best for your body. You have to learn how to listen to your body. You got to learn how to listen and not like really listen, not like, oh, my stomach telling me I'm hungry because I haven't ate in 12 hours. No, that might just be your dehydration talking to you. Just keep going. Just drink some more water. You'll be fine. Like
No,
seriously.
that's why what you said about the listen to the body thing. I was talking about that earlier in my stream. You didn't hear my stream earlier. You was probably working.
I heard some of it. I was
Okay.
at school, but I did hear some of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, interesting. And then as a disclaimer for some people in my audience now, and what I've been saying for the past few weeks, and definitely since I sort of shifted the content in the channel over, actually says some things there that I don't entirely agree with. And I say that to say, and I point that out to say, not from a conflict standpoint, I want to be able to have a platform of discussions where different people's health strategies and modalities can be discussed. Even if we don't entirely agree, let's look at what we do agree on. And, if my guest or the audience has questions, I can address it now or later or whatever. But I am interested more so in the things we do agree on, which is exactly why I was like, come talk to me about what you're doing, because there's a lot of stuff Ashley's doing that I do agree with for sure. Like obviously just fasting in general. Because you could talk about diet, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, this, that, and the third. But when you get into the weeds with fasting, don't eat anything and let your body heal itself. That part is undeniable, and it doesn't matter what diet or what macros you think you should be eating. That is just universally objectively true. So I'm more interested in that. So I'm just saying that to clarify to my audience, because you're saying some things that are directly in conflict with literally the things I was saying just a few hours ago. So I just want to clarify that, because somebody will come back and be like, well, you brought on Ashley and she said this. I'll be like, yeah, I don't agree with that, but cool. So just to make note of that for the sake of clarity, and to again drive home the point that we don't have to agree on everything, and because of that doesn't mean, oh, I hate you, Ashley, and we beefing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, let me see some other Hands Dragon. I stand by Dr. Layla Africa's holistic diet and fasting plan lectures on YouTube. Yeah, I peeped a lot of his stuff too. RIP Dr. Layla Africa. Again, some of his stuff I don't agree with either. Dr. Sabi, some of the stuff I looked at for many, many years, and I adopted a lot of those strategies for years. But when you start getting into your 40s and start realizing the potentiality of um let's say certain deficiencies in certain diets, and when those chickens come home to roost, then you got to start figuring that out. But you're doing 72-hour 3-day fast, breaking the fast at midday, and then you're basically doing OMAD rolling over, and you're doing tea, water, and juice.
Mhm.
Now tell us about the juice, because people always are interested in how you're setting up juice. I'm interested as well because I did a lot of juicing in my life and had some benefits with that. But my recent pivot, I'm so far removed from juicing now. And I would say the results I'm getting are far better than I was getting while juicing. This ain't about me. This is about you. What are you doing for your juicing while on these rolling fasts?
In regards to what, like what type of juicing I'm doing, like
Yeah, like what does an average day look like when you're doing these 3-day setups?
oh, so it would essentially be I'm trying to drink a gallon a day, and half the gallon would be juice. Um, Another had like a fourth would be water, and then a fourth would be the tea. I got some visuals, so I hold on. Go ahead. So, oh shit. So essentially, I would try to drink about this much in water and tea a day of each, and then a thing about this size of juice. But usually, I would drink a fruit juice and a green juice throughout the day. Um, Green juice would be anything from just straight celery juice, like celery, kale, cucumbers, lemons, and ginger, things like that. Um, Sometimes I would do some mono juicing, maybe some just straight cantaloupe juice, straight honeydew juice, straight. That's really don't like that in the celery juice. Most on mono juices that I would do, like doing different types of fruit juices, like just mixing up different things. To just try to get this, like, what do I like to taste, and how do I get the vitamins and the nutrients, get the stuff in my body without feeling like I had to do too much on that juicing cycle, because juicing can take some work.
Oh, you mean as far as the actual physical juicing?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you gotta prepare fruits and vegetables and all that type of stuff. That's the work part of it, and I think that that's where people probably fall off, because it can take a lot of time to juice some stuff sometimes.
Yeah, no, I've been there. And, I'm a freelancer. The kind of work I do, time, efficiency between workout, diet, and if you're juicing, vegetables, preparation, food prep, all that comes into consideration.
Yeah.
And yeah, geez, going and buying all this fruit and cutting it up and getting it ready to put in a juicer or, some kind of blender or whatever, however I'm getting it going. Because in some instances, you want the juice from the fruit, but then if you don't have the pulp, then you're getting too much juice. And then there's the glycemic index potential blood sugar spike when you get into the weeds with that. What do you think about that though? Because you were kind of rolling into this stuff with a group. Did they ever mention to you the potentiality for certain juices, fruit juices, blood sugar spike? Would that ever come up, or was that ever discussed?
Yeah, they did. Like a couple of people, that did the challenge had diabetes, so they always tried to make sure that they address that. That at a certain point, you will get a blood sugar spike because of juicing, just because it is depending on the type of juice you're drinking, especially if it's a fruit juice. Um, it's gonna have a lot of sugar. Your blood sugar is gonna spike, but that usually does go down. Like it doesn't stay that high. That's why, depending on who you talk to, if you have diabetes, they definitely will suggest fasting, and they will suggest juice fasting. They might suggest not doing so much of the fruit juices and staying more to green juices, but they will still suggest you do it.
Interesting. Okay. And then, yeah, while we were talking about that, Hash Dragon basically said, do you drink fruit juice with or without the pulp, which is kind of what we had just went into. What do you think about that, though? Well, how do you set it up? You are juicing like a blender or juicer where you're just getting a juice, or you're getting sort of the pulp with it? What do you think?
I have a juicer, but like there's no way that you're not gonna get pulp in that stuff sometimes. Like as even I strain it, I typically strain it and I still get a bunch of pulp sometimes. So it depends on the type of fruit that you juice, on how much pulp you're gonna get in the first place. Because like things like apples, like unless you can get a whole bunch of pulp and now you got applesauce. So you're not gonna really drink that anyway. You're gonna eat it and I can't eat that. So that's is things like that. And as far as the pulp, as far as my knowledge comes, the pulp has a lot of the fibers in it. So if I'm on a juice fast, I don't necessarily need the fibers of the pulp. So I typically don't do anything with it.
Interesting. And I try not to go that route, but like just it's just in a comical kind of way. I talk about fasting, and it's like,
Mhm.
man, stop playing with me. When I fast with 0 calorie at all. In other words, people say juice fast or whatever fast. I'm like, nah, 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 nah. Fast is just
Dry
water or
fasting,
well, yeah, you said dry fast. So
I've
dry
dry
fast is
fasted.
nothing, a straight
Straight
air
nothing.
fast.
Yes. Oof.
Yeah. So you already know what it is. So I was gonna ask you, what do you think about just straight fast? I forgot you had said
Like dry
dry
fasting.
fast.
Yeah, I think it's definitely I think it's something people should try. I definitely do because I think you will be quite interested to see how you react after a day of not eating or drinking anything. I think you might be pleasantly surprised with yourself.
I actually might roll into, and I was thinking about doing a 48-hour fast this week because I haven't done one in a while because I just broke my fast from yesterday
Mhm.
earlier today. And I don't even count a fast unless it's essentially over 36 hours. Like I go to sleep a whole day, go to sleep the whole night. And that's just me being bougie with the fasting, right?
No.
But um this week would have been my ninth week of doing what I call mealless Mondays. So I
Mhm.
actually didn't do the ninth week, but I did do 8 back-to-back weeks of basically 2 months, starting in the first week on the 7th of January, starting this year. I did back-to-back weeks with no food on Monday. And then I was like, okay, I want to do something a little different. And I'm getting way leaner. So it's making my body cravings go kind of crazy. So I was like, all right, let me try something different. Let me go back to, because I'm definitely keto rocking that for sure. And basically, NF, uh, INFJ Tyrone said something about carnivore earlier.
Mhm.
And I only say the phrase carnivore because it's really animal based. There's all kind of different phrasings for it, but I have been experimenting with this carnivore diet situation, which is like obviously super low carb. And I say carnivore because for over 10 years, basically like 15 years, I was moving with more of a uh plant-based kind of strategy, almost borderlining vegan vegetarian ish, thinking I could really get all the nutrients I needed, and then realizing into my 40s, oh, the nutrient deficiency thing catches up with you. And I'm saying that based on my experience, and then I've read about and heard reports from other people that like over time the nutrient deficiency catches up with you, and then your metabolism gets thrown off and you won't even realize it. So yeah, in the past 6 months, switching over to more of an animal based kind of diet, I'm having some very interesting results. Building more muscle mass while getting rid of the old body fat. I talked earlier about how you definitely don't want old body fat sitting on you for a long period of time, and reaping the benefits of that. But essentially, what I'm long story long, where I'm going into now is I want to pivot to something a little bit different,
Mhm.
and I want to increase my fat intake. So it's going to be keto even more, and I don't know if I'm even gonna throw any carbs in there. I don't really need to, but maybe some honey. Maybe I'll try that just for some, I don't know, pre-workout-ish kind of carbs, just to try something different. But there was a point that I was getting to even beyond that long-winded point. Um, Basically extended fast. So, oh, that's where I was going. I'm gonna do a 48-hour fast this week, straight water, 0 calorie, and maybe I'll throw in on the tail end of it right somewhere because I've done this before. Just water, right?
Mhm.
I've done fast where I'll do like a 3-day fast where the first day just water, the middle day dry, and then bring back the fluid, the water on the third day. Just trying different things, just to see, because then the electrolyte balance gets way thrown off. But the dry fast thing is interesting. Straight air diet. You know what I'm saying? Like that's ruthless, but that gets you going. But I'm getting so lean now. I'm in uncharted water, so my
Yeah.
body's doing whole different things. Um, Actually, do you drink coffee? Somebody's asking about coffee.
Nope.
Okay,
Coffee
I
first
do
thing in the
drink coffee,
morning
but
destroys your metabolism.
yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I like. Well, actually, I kind of laid off coffee for a while, but I do have these pre-workouts that maybe or
That's
maybe
some
not
caffeine.
advisable. But the caffeine, I like
Yeah.
caffeine. But yeah, caffeine with adrenals and all that, you got to time it just right,
Yeah, you do.
like for the pre-workout kind of situation. Because yeah, ultimately, caffeine is not good, grand scheme of
Yeah,
things.
it's not. It's not. It's not really good. And then the fact that most people load it up with sugar and cream doesn't make it any better.
Right, adding the extra stuff. Yeah, no. If I do have coffee, caffeine, I'm like trying to get the most stripped down kind of thing. For sure. Hash Dragon said there was a popular trend of 30-day celery juice on YouTube. Yeah, I did that. The celery juice, I actually liked the effects of celery juice
I like
for
celery
sure.
juice. I
But
discovered that I like it.
yeah, I actually like it.
Yeah, it gives you that like if you're trying to do like a juicing type of fast, celery juice would kind of give you an opportunity to kind of be a little easy on the juicing first of all because you just juicing celery, and then for me, it was something very refreshing about just how water, like just straight water. It was like it just tasted like celery water. Like it was real weird, but it hit it. I liked the way that it hit my palate. It gave me like this creamy texture in my mouth that I liked for some reason. But it was it definitely helped when it came to certain types of cravings and different things like that, to kind of relieve some of that. Because especially if I was craving anything salty, celery juice kind of like knocked it out. Like seriously.
I want to suggest this, or maybe try this. Because I know exactly what you're saying as far as the celery juice. But have you ever tried, or maybe try this? Get some cilantro
Hmm.
and just boil it in some water.
I
Obviously
don't like
organic
cilantro.
cilantro, and just break it. You don't like cilantro?
I really don't like the way cilantro tastes. I eat it
Really?
and stuff. Yeah,
My
I eat
mom
it and
said that
stuff.
too.
But I don't really prefer to just sit and have cilantro with stuff. Yeah, no. No, I
Well,
do
no,
not
well,
like. I mean, I'm
typically
willing
it's
to
more like
try
a
anything
garnish or
now. So
something.
don't. I'll still try it.
Well, no, I only say that because they say cilantro is good for like heavy metal detox.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I actually I mean, it's kind of just a garnish for other things. So just putting it on, I don't know, certain dishes or whatever. But I mean, I would just never sit and eat straight up cilantro. But where I was going with it is I've taken cilantro based on the idea of they say that it will help like detox mercury. And at one point, I was eating a lot of fish. At one point, fish was the only meat I was eating at all, just salmon. And I'm thinking, okay, wild caught salmon, mercury. Well, let me sort of counterbalance that with cilantro. So what I was doing is taking like a handful of cilantro and I'd break it up and just boil it in water and then take the distilled sort of juice from that and just kind of add it in with other juice, lemon or whatever. But I actually grew to like just the taste of cilantro because I like the smell of it and the taste is like the smell. So that's just an interesting thought since you were into the juicing, see what you thought about that. But if you don't like cilantro, never mind. But you should try it though, because if
No, I
there
do
if
put cilantro in one of my green juices. I do put cilantro in some in a lot of them actually, just for the benefits of it, even though it's not never a lot.
wait, so there's a couple of things. One second. The discussion in the chat is actually pretty dope. I like this. Wait, so we touched on that one. JC the Conqueror, real quick. Actually, just in general, it's a pretty broad question. Can you give
Hmm.
your thoughts on that? He just said the
The
what
best
is
fast.
what the best kind of fast? What the
Yeah,
best kind?
like it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. To be perfectly honest, like if you're trying to accomplish weight loss, then any of the fasting would do. But it's like you have to manage and think about the type of prep you need to do, what you're willing to do while you're on that fast. You have to think about the detox symptoms and things like that. So, and that's what's going to help try to guide you towards which fasting you should do. Like if you want to fast but you're scared about detox symptoms, you might want to juice fast because juicing will still give you nutrients and maybe you're not going to detox as harshly. If you're not worried about that, water or dry fasting. Dry fasting is going to, like, you want to lose a lot of weight and try or anything like that, dry fasting is probably the best. But again, you're going to have to make sure that you're still drinking water at some point, and you're making sure that you're breaking that fast with water as opposed to just trying to eat a bunch of different stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to break that fast with water, and you have to take it easy if you're going to do a dry fast. But like I said, it really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish and how quickly you're trying to accomplish it.
Let me say this real quick. None of this, of course, we're not medical professionals, so consult
Right.
any medical consult your most likely indoctrinated doctor before you take advantage
Right.
of anything we're saying here. We're not doctors. This is on you. Y'all are grown, and if
Right.
you're a child, go talk to your mama and them. Yeah. So, because when you start talking about dry fasting, it's like, yeah, that's a whole other ball game. And then I've even done dry fasting and went and gotten a sauna at the same time too. So,
Oof.
yeah.
What was
Oh
you
yeah.
thinking?
Just seeing, just shred. Because I'm at this thing about getting rid of the old fat because
Yeah.
I talked about it in my stream earlier. I'm gonna do more presentations on that, the kind of stuff I'm digging up. All right, but let me see. We got some different comments in here. Shout out to my guy Matt Mittens, super active. Okay, so I'll answer this. In my opinion, the best kind of fast, somebody said it, Tyrone said it, is
Is the
the
best
answer to
one.
the trick question.
Right.
The best fast is the one you can stick to. And I say to that
Everybody.
point, in my opinion, the best fast is just intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Because meeting people where they're at as I move into, personal trainer certification, nutrition coach certification, in the psychology of all the excuses and I gotta have my blah blah blah. It's like, okay, cool. Eat all the same stuff you're gonna eat. Keep being a loser, but just eat it all within a tighter eating window.
Right.
Right? Eat the same stuff you're gonna eat like a loser. Instead of eating it all day, eat it in 8 hours and then tighten it
Right.
into 6 hours. And then start to think about not eating empty calories. And then on top of that, what I'm doing, me personally, if you want a negative age at 45, do 2 meal a day, high fat, high protein. Because if you get the essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, and essential macronutrients, then your body will build itself properly. That's just what I think. That's what I'm experiencing. And then there's, super high level scientific nerds that break it all down. That's literally why it's called essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, essential things your body needs to build
Right.
itself that your body can't produce on its own. And yeah, when you, amazingly enough, when you cut it down to the basic stuff you need, your body you just builds itself back and gets to homeostasis and cleans itself out and repairs itself. Imagine that.
Right.
Let me see. You good on time, Ashley?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Let me see. Because yeah, shout out to the people rocking with me in the chat, rocking with us in the chat. Dr. Berg. Yeah, you know about Dr. Berg? Dr. Berg, Dr.
Think
Bergman.
so.
There's Bergman, Berg, Ekberg.
Ah,
Uh Geez, a lot of people breaking down stuff. Tom's DeLauer. There's so many influencers and people I'll be checking
oh
out on
yeah, I've heard
YouTube.
of
Like, it's one of the best times in the world to really soak up the info on. There's like no excuses on the health and fitness levels at this point,
that.
except if you want to be distracted or you
Really,
want to
it's
be,
not.
I can't. The women's don't like me, and I want to cry about
Like
that.
I
And
it's the mentality. It's like I said, it's the mentality. Like, I think that a lot of our minds are just being depleted, and I don't think we realize how much. Like, we literally, it's like so many people, we like literally put in trash all day, and y'all know what they say: trash in, trash out. Like, you putting in trash in your mind. You watching fight videos. Reality TV is your favorite thing in the world, and you wonder why those things continue to translate into bad diets. Like, what I've learned, something that I realized through my role in 72s is that some of the reason why I stay up all night and overeat is because I'm sitting up watching TV. If I take my ass to sleep
uh
at a
oh,
decent hour, chances
oh,
are I'm not up all night trying to be hungry, trying to feel hungry. And then it makes more sense when I put together that and what I learned with the little research I've been doing with Ayurvedic medicine, which means that when you start talking about your doshas and what happens at the different times of the day with your doshas, you're getting fired up at that time. You're getting to a point where you want to rest and you want to do a lot of things. So you're getting hungry again. You're not supposed to eat though. But since you're up, most of us are gonna eat, like I did. like,
Staying up
like,
late is
let's be
all
real.
bad.
Let's be real. Like, I'm just being real.
Staying up too late is one of the ultimate hustle backwards moves possible. And yeah, it throws off your metabolism in so many different ways. It's not aligning with the circadian rhythms, the sky clock, as I like to jokingly call it. Um, when the sun comes up, when the sun goes down, how you're supposed to sleep, melatonin, serotonin, the balance, cycles, all that, throwing your whole, food cravings off. If you're not well rested, throws off the gut bacteria, the cravings, the balance, all this. So bad. The sleep thing, free energy. I put that in the free energy category along with fasting. Like, you actually have to sleep or you'll lose your mind and die. And then from a healing perspective, getting out of your own way and fasting, free energy for sure. Stop putting stuff in it and let your body just do its thing. They told us we got to eat 3 meals a day, and then that gets blown out with snacks and all this other stuff. And it's like, fam, we do not need to eat 3 meals a day. Stop it. And then when you put it to the test, you hear somebody say it, it's like, that's crazy. You hear somebody say it, and if you're, open minded, you're like, wow, that's interesting. You start thinking the implications of that. And then when you try it and realize, oh, it's true. And then you realize, oh, I feel actually good and feel clear and energized, and wow, I can work out and still perform. And I haven't eaten today or yesterday or whatever, and I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm not falling apart. In fact, I'm thriving. It's like life changing.
Yeah. I felt the best. I felt not eating for more than 3 days. Like during those 90 hours, I would come home and be like, if it was like if he didn't literally suggest refeeding, like just do it. You got to do it. This is part of the, just do it
Right.
because you want to just be healthy with yourself. I probably would have just kept fasting. I probably would have had it like because I felt that good. I felt energetic. My mind is still clear because I'm still fasting. Like today, I've just been drinking water. So, um, like it's absolutely, and thank you, gosh. I'm gonna thank you, AM1, because today was my first day on my water fast, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it because this water fast is a lot different than that juice fasting because you are getting some nutrients, so I'm not getting nothing, so it's a little different. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be a little hard, but I'm almost through my gallon and I'm making it through, so this is helping because if I'm sitting on here, I'm not gonna eat.
Wait, so just a thought.
uh,
And a water fast
yeah,
day as opposed to the juice, because with the
yeah,
juice, you can get certain electrolytes that come naturally with that. So
right.
with the water fast, are you kind of adding some salt to that? Maybe potassium?
No, I'm not putting any water, no salt in it.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll talk about that. Just share some thoughts on that.
Yeah,
I
I
say it
just
this way.
I've looked into that a little bit about putting electrolytes and putting salt in the water and things
Right.
like that. I sometimes I do I try to put like eat Celtic salt,
Hmm.
just like put a little of that under my tongue, and maybe that'll be the most that I'll do. But yeah, I'm not trying to put it too much too put too much salt or anything in it. But I definitely know that if I don't want to flush out all my potassium, that's why I'm trying not to drink the water too fast, because that's actually a hint, hint, tip, tip, wink, wink. Stop guzzling down your liquids. That's why some of y'all are not absorbing as much as you can from the things that you're drinking. It's because you guzzling, you're not sipping. Your body is only absorbing so much nutrients from whatever you drink an hour. So you do not need to gunk, 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 gunk anything. It's not really helpful. Sip.
Yeah, very interesting. Like for myself, switching from sort of a plant based, way more carb kind of situation to more animal based. And just as they said, and being very active too, like working out a lot, the carbohydrate changeover, and for men, was exactly what they said it was, where I started realizing, whoa, I definitely need way more electrolytes for sure, especially intermittent fasting and going more sort of carnivore, animal based, and lowering the carbs or basically low to no carb. It really changes up how your body holds on to water and how your potassium and salt balance works out. So I definitely had to supplement more where I could feel my muscles cramping up and seizing up, and then go have a big glass of water with some salt in it and feel it kick in immediately. So yeah, I was just curious about that. I know it's different for everybody, but
Mhm.
hold on, let me get in here because there's some other comments. Matt Mittens is talking about methylene blue, and I hear people keep talking about that. I still haven't looked entirely into that. You know about methylene blue?
I do not. It sounds familiar, but I never looked into it.
Methylene blue. Yeah, no, I keep hearing about it. And Matt Mittens, you know about it? Because are you asking? Are you?
Oh
You
yeah, I
said
think I
something about it, and I'm curious to know more about it. Something about it makes me think, do I want to take that? But or would I want to take it? But I'd have to see.
yeah.
I
I
gotta
mean,
see.
like anything with sometimes I'd be worried about these words that they use to describe stuff, and then I'll be curious to know, is this a natural substance? Is it derived from natural products? Like, was this something chemically made up in a lab? Like, I don't know enough about that to say anything about it.
Right, Matt Min says you need to turn the lights down after sundown, let melatonin roll in and tell you it's time to sleep. Exactly. I was just talking to my mom about that the other day. And myself, I've used melatonin because I've had trouble sleeping for many, many years and have used it to help me sleep. And I don't like when my body is too dependent on it. And it's not good. And there's about to be the time change, I guess, next week, which I'm looking forward to because when we
Yeah, me
start getting
too.
to that spring summer vibe, I'm about that life. But yeah, then it's going to be that much more. I'm gonna try to stick with, going into winter vibe, hibernation kind of energy. And that's why I'm kind of thinking my body going into spring, change up the diet, mealless Monday fast strategy. Maybe I'm gonna tighten it up a little bit differently because the training schedule is about to get crazier. I'm already getting lean. I just got to make some adaptations on the fly. Sorry while I think out loud. But based on what he said as far as the whole time switch, and hold on, let me see. Indoctrinated doctor is a great description. Exactly. And let me see, because there's a lot of gyms in here. So I really love this stream. Actually, this is really good energy. I'm
Yeah,
liking this. This is a throwback to us chatting from back in the day,
right.
but moving forward on this health and fitness kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you this question in a second, but let
Mhm.
me look at more of
Okay.
these comments. But
Can I
I'm gonna
go
throw this.
potty?
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay, you see me drinking all this water. I ain't playing.
I
I
heard
gotta
that.
get through this gallon.
I heard that. All right, so we got Ashley uh going potty because she's drinking hella water. Collection doctor, you only need one meal. Yeah, 3 meals a day is only good if you're highly active. You got to be super duper active to warrant that. Truth be told, right? 3 meals a day and no exercise, excess fat. Exactly, and no exercise equals fat. Definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, think about it. And then there was a comment in here. Somebody said something about they try to. Where's that comment? I try to match my fiber with my carb intake. So that's interesting. In my understanding, and I could have this wrong, but I'm pretty sure I don't. All carbohydrates, all plants are carbohydrates, and all plants have various levels of fiber, and it's insoluble fiber that your body can't digest. So it's kind of one and the same thing, unless you're trying to say carbs relative to plants being carbs, and then refined carbs like bread from wheat from plant. But there's kind of a distinction that's made between carbs in that sense, or confusion, I could say. But it's like if you're eating bread, that's obviously carbs. But any kind of plants is also carbs. So there's that part too. And when you get into the carbs, then it's like, well, do you really need the carbs? Because there are doctors who are saying there are no essential carbohydrates and your body can make glucose. So what's up with that? What up with that? There it is. I tend to match my fiber intake with my carbs whenever I decide to eat more carbs. Deronimer, I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean by that, and I'm not sure what you think you mean by that. Not that I have all the answers, but I don't know, fam. All right, let me see. Himalayan sea salt. Yep, I rock with that. And once they're looking for landmines, what I do? What I do? What I say? What I do? Right. Do not eat past 6 p.m. Lose weight overnight. Yeah, I always try to keep it back. 7 p.m. at the latest for me. Oh, Eric Berg has a video on it and also knocked out a case of gout same day. Wow. Interesting. Okay. Based on you saying that, and if Berg is hollering at it, I gotta look into it more, try to see about it. Matt Mittens, do you know about Dr. Tom Cowan and Sally Fallon Morell? Weston A. Price Foundation. But Dr. Tom Cowan, in his own right, very interesting guy. Everybody should know about. Dr. Cowan and some other doctors, Andrew Kaufman, Dr. Sam, and Mark Bailey, are basically on some of the most cutting edge science about health. Like this is like the next golden era of humanity level health stuff. Dr. Cowan. Yeah, you got to know about Dr. Cowan, Dr. Kaufman, the Baileys. The Baileys just dropped a new book or last week called the final pandemic, so you can see what it is. Cutting edge science on this whole health, fitness, what's going on with our bodies. uh Everybody should know about this stuff, but yeah, I was curious to know. But somebody asked Dr. Tom Cowan in the live stream about methylene blue, and he said he didn't know about it, and I'd be curious to know what he thinks about it. He's one of my I don't trust indoctrinated doctors, but some doctors have figured out how indoctrinated they were and have done things to kind of point out how shady the industry is. So I tend to look at what those doctors who sort of came clean are saying. Ashley is back. Ashley, tell us about this
Yep.
short-term,
Go.
long-term health goals relative
Mhm,
to kind of what you're doing right now. You're doing these fast, they're rolling.
mhm,
Is that
mhm.
sustainable? And are you trying to reach a certain goal? If so, what does that look like?
So, I was just found this video today about how you can fast without losing weight. So I'm interested. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm interested to see what it says. But no, fasting for me probably won't be sustainable forever because I don't have much weight to lose. I think when you're bigger, it's a little bit different on how long fast can last. But my goal now that I'm off the rolling 72s right now is I want to like I said, I'm attempting to water fast I'm just about to see how long this lasts, see how long I can last. But ultimately, my goal is to drop the last little 14, 13, 14 pounds I want to lose and maintain. So, if there comes a time during that time where I'm in the maintain function that I want to fast or decide to start fasting, I definitely want to leave myself open to that. But for the most part, my long term goals, short term goals, is really just how can I figure out how to make this lifestyle the most sustainable for myself? Like, what do I need to do to give my health the best opportunity possible and to thrive? And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now, by any means.
Let me help. Well, I'm just saying because I'm literally in the training right now. Personal trainer, certified nutrition coach through National Academy of Sports Medicine (NASM), for whatever that's worth. But I mean, my independent research I think is by far overtaking and will overshadow what I'm learning through them because I'm just such a sponge for it. But some of the stuff, you already know what it is. I've talked about it before, and I've talked about it in some of your streams and even in this stream. The essentials, just briefly, if you understand or subscribe to the idea of essential fatty acids, essential amino acids that our bodies need but don't produce, and that we have to get from external sources. And then we understand the idea of the transactional trade off of whatever we consume has um, the trade off of oxidation, metabolism, byproducts. So we want to be eating as efficiently as possible and getting to those essentials as easy as possible in the most efficient way as possible. So then it becomes a matter of, in my estimation, us trying to eat as little as possible or less is more and from the most nutrient dense sources. So that means it's less that we have to eat to get the most nutrients. So then it begs the question, what are the most nutrient dense foods to where you could get away with eating less but getting more bang for your buck? So you have less of those metabolic oxidation process trade-offs. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
This is like from a equation. And I don't know, have you sort of looked into that like from a nutrition dense standpoint?
Um, yes. And again, because we don't necessarily see eye to eye on this, I know it's not going we don't I don't think we agree on how to get there because I know you would say, eat meat in order to get some of that, and I just don't agree. I mean, obviously, that's through my research and based off my experiences. But I also understand and respect that you have been living that lifestyle. And based on that and how you feel now, there's a difference that you can speak to that I can't. So, what I can say is, I at the beginning of this journey decided that it was going to be whatever I started feeling I needed. I'm not going to say I'm giving up meat because at the end of the day, I don't know that for sure. And I don't want to put anything out there and put something on my spirit or put something on myself and then not be able to keep up with it and then cause all this other detrimental mental things that can happen because of those sorts of things. So I've always set out to it being, I'm not going to block anything. I'm going to start doing what feels good to my body. Like what feels good to me right now. And right now, fasting, releasing all of this. And as you were talking, I thought about that term and these terms that we lose, like losing weight. I've been trying to say releasing weight, and then now it's becoming this I don't think a double entendre is what I'm trying to say, but like it comes this double-edged sword because not only do I want to lose the weight of the excess fat that's in my body, but the weight of the mental stress that comes with holding on to it. So it becomes this much bigger thing to me that is not just how do I want to hit these goals, but how do I do what feels right for me in every moment of every day.
No, that makes sense. Your strategy on it, I would say for sure. Like be open to listening to what your body, because I think you understand that most people don't. Like the one of the benefits of fasting, you get to clear out the noise and listen to what your body is saying, and
Right.
that's how I'm able to say, or at least subjective thing to say, fasting more and getting to a point of I haven't eaten in a few days now. Let me come back and see what my body is really craving or what it really doesn't like. When I
Hmm.
reintroduce, it's the elimination diet concept.
Right.
Like people get caught up on vegan or carnivore or whatever. I don't even get caught up in that. I don't care about the brand names. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is, essential fatty acids, essential amino acids, essential micronutrients. Let this thing get to homeostasis and heal itself, because we've been harming it since probably before we were even born. Our parents were probably already doing it when we were being developed from a body standpoint, right? So let's
Right.
fix that. I don't care about anything else, no ideologies, period. How do we arrive at that and do that in the most efficient way? And I'm trying to do it at 45, like from the hustle backwards that I did, thinking I knew what was up or just didn't know what I didn't know. So I say that to say being able to truly listen to your body is super key. So to keep that mentality where you're not trying to pin yourself, is kind of sound like what you're saying. You don't want to pin yourself into any kind of camp or ideology or I'm rocking like this. Cause I have friends, I have people that'll be like, no, vegan is better, blah, blah, blah. I
Mhm.
used to tell people, I was like, yeah, you don't need meat like that. Based on what I thought I genuinely understood to be correct. And there was some logic behind it, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. When I really boiled it down to a mathematical equation, essentials that your body can't make that it needs to thrive. How do you go get those in the most efficient way? Because for everything you eat, there's a trade off of sort of oxidation and essentially aging your body, stressing your body out.
Mhm.
So, by from a mathematical perspective, get as most nutrients as you can while mitigating potential damage that's being caused from obviously processed food, fake food, or just get it in the most efficient way. Like, why put whipped cream in the gas tank of your car along with the gas? Because it tastes good. Like, that's crazy,
Right.
right? So that's dope to keep an open mind with it like that. But I'm just curious, and I was kind of jumping ahead to the idea of, again, my thought process is efficiency and
Mhm.
sustainability over time. And I know you're younger than me, so I'll still put it in the context of, well, I'm looking at it through the lens, business model wise, coaching wise.
Mhm.
I am 45. I'm doing certain things, and in the past 6 months, have reversed all kind of damage and done healing and recomped my body at 45. If I can coach somebody who's 35 or 25, it's like, fam, you haven't even had the time to do that level of harm to your body. Hopefully, right?
Right.
So it should be that easier to fix it. And I'm trying to look at a way aside from bio individuality. Is there certain things that generally anybody can do roughly within certain parameters that will get you results where you start healing your body and dumping excess fat? that's going to be harmful for you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's sustainable over time.
The most thing that I've honestly heard is about intermittent fasting. Any sort of fasting is going to always be able to do that for you. And then like, and I when I think about just everything that you just said, because everything that you just said is essentially what happens when you fast. And the longer that you can take your body through those fasts, so like even if you're doing something like every 6 months, you're doing like a 3 4 day week fast or something, that probably does a lot of the damage that you just did over the last 6 months. So I think what we have to realize sometimes is sometimes it don't take a lot. And I think we get overwhelmed because when you hear things like I'm not going to eat for a few days, it can feel overwhelming. It can just feel like a lot, because especially if you're addicted to food, you're addicted to sugar, you're addicted to whatever habit that you have that even draws you to want to do that in the first place. Like you have to, like, fasting gets a lot of that under control, and it literally does everything that you just said, from
Yeah, no,
according to
from
my research.
it keeps
Like
coming
seriously.
back full circle to me for the fasting thing. Like I said, I've been fasting for over a decade, trying different strategies. Intermittent fasting for sure. Like the whole
Yeah.
idea of intermittent fasting, basically 2 meals a day or less. I've been running that for the last, 12, 13 years, just by sheer default of I don't even like eating that much food because I like the lighter feeling where I'm just not all stuffed in the sort of like just the sluggish kind of feeling after eating. But even now, realizing in my case, dabbling more into this low carb thing, it's like, fam, I could eat a big bowl of steak and eggs and then pretty much go hit the gym or go jog. And my energy level is just crazy. I don't feel that the itis uh carb brain fog kind of thing. Um, but yeah, Tyrone says fasting and it's free. Matt Benz, I'm curious, how old are you? 6'2", 158. So you're on the leaner side for sure.
Yeah.
But some visceral fat, man, get some sprints in. Sprints on like actual sprints on a track, just from sprints or cycle sprints. That'll help clear up that visceral fat. And then yeah, what's the diet looking like?
Yeah, I
And
would
then
like, yeah, because then I would say like it, because being that small, like you still, there's probably still like, I would more so suggest intermittent fasting for you, because that will help you get rid of the visceral fat. But because it's not you going days and days without eating, you'll still be able to eat like nutritionally dense food during that eating period, and you can still. And then I would also say, well, if you're fasting, maybe don't have your windows open so long, so that it
for
can, your
sure.
ketones can that can last a little bit longer. So I would say, like, if you want to have an 8 hour eating window, maybe cut that down like by five or so. Like maybe just do one meal a day, because that'll still allow you to eat, and like I said, have that fasting and have those ketones burning off, so that you can actually get rid of that visceral fat.
Yeah, I mean, at 6'2", 158, that's an
Superstar.
interesting kind of build because that's basically skinny, but
Right.
then if you're saying visceral fat, so then it seems like skinny fat, and I'm not saying
Right.
that as a
So you
diss
got
to
internal fat.
I
That
mean, I
visceral
know
literally like organs fat, y'all. Visceral
right.
means organs.
I obviously have to clarify that more, but that's an interesting comment, but I just want to holler at that a little bit because I'm 6'2" and I'm like 190, 195. So I can imagine if I was
Yeah.
160,
Super slim.
how I would look. I would be supremely thin slash shredded. Let me go to this real quick. We talked about that long-term health goals. So that's kind of in progress in the works.
Hmm.
You're open to some different things, how
Hmm.
it kind of plays out, if I'm hearing that right.
Yeah.
Let me remove that. And then talk to me about this though, because you're doing some things career wise,
Hmm.
and I put it as investments into health and fitness education career because you
Hmm.
already know I talked about what I'm doing with that,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
really adding that as an extension to my business, consulting offerings, training, teaching. What are you doing with that though? Because you're in some classes, some schooling, yeah.
Yeah, so actually finished massage school, clinical massage therapy school last September. I'm currently, and I'm working as a massage therapist too, so I'm not just like just being a student. Like I'm working too. But I am back in school for to be an esthetician. So I'm doing that because I feel like that would just be like a perfect little marriage of of skills, especially
Mm,
these days with so many people. When you talk about people talking about their self help, that's what people think about when they think about self help. Now, massage is definitely what I'm learning, and I feel like massage is definitely more self help than esthetician, but I'm gonna be down for both. So that's what I'm doing with that, and I've definitely been investing in that because that takes a lot of time. I'm in school 3 days a week, like that's a lot, like 9 to 5, 3 days a week, like so it's definitely an investment. Um, and I think again, I've realized even now how it feels to go back and do something like that at my age. I'm not that old, but when you've been kind of stuck in a rut and you think like, I don't know what to do, and when you start stepping outside of your boxes, which is what I essentially feel like I've done with these things, because I really sometimes I'm not that much of a people person in real life. um, so
I hear you.
this definitely forces me to step outside of my box and do something different, and as a result it causes life to expand. So I think that, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to expand my life by expanding my skills and expanding on myself. And because I don't know, to me, I think that's how you do it.
So massage,
Mhm,
esthetician, and then
mhm.
kind of as in it's a side, your own personal, never ending project, fasting, diet, lifestyle,
Yeah.
sort of. It's almost like a game,
Wellness.
right? Like I talk about
Yeah.
people, it's almost you gamify it. Like it's an ongoing. Some people
Like
talk about I need to sit
what
down
I'm
and
gonna
watch
do
the game. It's
next?
like I'm
Yeah.
playing this game of what I can do with my body and like
Right.
overcome challenges. So I say that because I like the idea of esthetician body kind of thing, and yeah, visual aesthetic, obviously. Um, but then being able to do business, sustain yourself, massage, but then it's a body related kind of thing. I just say that
Mhm.
to say that goes together. I'm sure you
Thank
obviously realize that
you.
because I look at it from the standpoint of personal trainer, nutrition coach, then videographer. And where I'm at here in the Bay, there's all these different fitness people. So there's already people hitting me up right now looking at doing deals on helping them with their fitness content.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I'm looking at it like, how do I
Yeah.
even leverage that even into more business, me being me? Because I'm like, I'm already doing health and fitness content, my own stuff on YouTube, podcast, blah, blah, blah. Then I go get paid to shoot other content with other people. There's a whole model there. So I'd say that to say, like, I'm always thinking, always looking to build. So that's dope how you're doing these things that all kind of tie in together.
Yeah.
And then obviously you have experience with this YouTube thing. I say all that to say, um, please plant a flag more, letting people know what you're doing. Health fitness route, tying into massage. Is there a way you can capture content, something with that, certain techniques, Ashley W's techniques of how I'm doing massages this way, some kind of way you innovate something. Here's my PDF book on my approach, my unique approach to massage and beautification and for women, because you people love
Oh,
that stuff.
Oh boy, you like I said, this fasting is opening up my mind to all sorts of possibilities. Like I've gotten so many things in my thoughts about moving forward, like the spa that I'm opening, the non-for-profit that I'm gonna have, just all of these things. How can I incorporate YouTube and social media into all of these things to make them expand? Like all of this is definitely there, and like I said, like as my mind clears out, because I think that that's an important thing that people need to realize. Sometimes when you're trying to focus on goals and getting things done, you have to allow your mind to clear out, otherwise it's going to always be a confused, jumbled mess. Okay, like you have to allow your mind to clear up so you even know what direction and to go in and how you need to get there, because it's steps to everything. And when your mind is not clear, it's hard to figure out what steps you need to take in the first place. So I'm at that beginning stage of everything is just starting to align perfectly. I will say that.
And okay, so I love that, right? You see where I'm going with that. Like, build a
Yeah,
foundation, build something that's independent.
yeah,
We just went through this crazy situation in the past 3, 4 years,
yeah.
and I'm all about independence, not being subject to somebody's arm twist. You feel me? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, how do you do that on an independent level, and then moving forward into the future? And I don't want to keep you too long, and I think this is a dope way to sort of wrap on tying everything we talked about together. you as a parent role
Mhm.
model moving
Mhm.
into the future, building a
Mhm.
career around something that's empowering, uh diet, lifestyle changes, how does that tie into parenting? And this is something I need to learn more about as I'm
Yeah.
coaching people on, hey, this
Let
is
me
what you
say,
should do. But then how do you manage that if you have a child and you're raising a child versus what they want versus how you got to manage that? Do you tell them no, they can't have this? How do you sort that out? I'm super curious.
so first of all, I have a beautifully awesome child that tends to like to eat like me. So if I stop buying stuff, she stopped eating it. Boom! Who would have thought it? Who told y'all had to buy separate foods for y'all children?
Uh-oh.
So first, some of that I can't really relate to because my child has always been a good eater. She's perfectly fine eating fruits and vegetables. Um, like I've never really had that problem. If I say, "Hey, Leah, we're not going to eat this anymore," she pretty much is on board. Now, I obviously know that I can't control what she does when she's not in my presence, but if she tells me she's not eating things that I told her we're not supposed to eat, I believe that she does it. However, I think that a lot of your children's diets are in a lot more of you guys' hands than y'all give credit for. You guys are allowing your children to become picky. You are allowing them to say, no, I don't want to eat this, and then you go home, you go in the kitchen and make them something else. You're the reason that they can't give some of this stuff up. You're going to be the reason why they possibly have issues in the future because you didn't show them that they could stop doing certain things. And that's where I'm at with it in regards to my parenting and role modeling. Like at the end of the day, I have to show my daughter that her mother is capable of accomplishing something. If her mother says, I'm not going to eat for 3 days, she needs to see me be able to do it. Because how else is she going to believe when I tell her you can do this if you said you could do that too, but you couldn't. So why should I believe anything you say? So we have to start thinking about these things when we talking to our children and stop believing like y'all, like I said, like I'm not about to give my daughter no separate meal because she say, "Ooh, this is nasty." Sometimes she don't like Brussels sprouts, but I don't care. You gonna eat them Brussels sprouts, or I'm gonna try to figure out a way to cook them that she do like them. But like, I'm not gonna just say, "No, you're not about to have it." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how I roll in my house, and it never has been. So I don't know. It's a little hard for me to comprehend that my child don't eat this, and my child is being picky. I can't comprehend.
I mean, I feel you on that, but there's only so
Like,
much I can say before pissing people off.
look, I probably piss some people off because people be telling me now my 3-year-old picky. Your 3-year-old picky is because you let them be picky. They say they don't want to eat something, you take it away and give them something else. They're running. They didn't show you didn't show them what to do and they did it. They're doing it. Stop being surprised. Like,
Yeah, kind of like, wait, who's the adult here? Who's the parent here?
right.
Versus, I know some people kind of set the tone and made it to where it's like, I can't now backtrack because I don't want to deal with this tantrum. But it's kind of like, oh, you set that up though.
Yep. Exactly. But like I said, like I can't call it. Like at the end of the day, you do what you want to do with your children. I don't call them kids. I'm not raising a baby goat. I'm raising a child. So y'all do what y'all want with y'all children. What I'm doing with mine is I want my child to also understand that she has to listen to her body. Do what works for you. If you go to school and you hungry and they got something and you feel like that's what you need right now, then eat it. Who am I? I'm not about to be mad at you if you come home and say, "Mommy ate a piece of chicken." I'm not about to be mad at you. Maybe that's what your body said you needed at that time. It is what it is. Let's keep it moving. You're still a child. It hasn't all the harmful stuff hasn't really built up in your body like that anyways. So you cool. And guess what? Because you're seeing me do this, you know tools on how to cleanse yourself if it ever does happen. So we cool. Because that's all I really can do. I can give her tools. I can show her what can be done so that if life ever hits her, she knows what she can do. Like, that's all I can do.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Hour and a half. I don't want to keep you too long because you already know how it is, how these things work. But we got to catch up and do this more
Yeah.
and kind of circle back. But yeah, so what you was doing, you was talking to the fasting. I'm big on that. The diet strategies. I'm just trying to pick everybody's brain about this, and it made perfect sense to be able to talk to you. We go back, and just to really show people the power of what we could be, what we should be doing with this thing. Where if we're going to talk online, let's talk about something that's, beneficial for us respectively and potentially inspirational for other people, things that other people can do, tools other people can pick up and use on a day-to-day basis to better themselves, because we're in the information age of free information and content. Let's make it be something that's of true benefit, of true value, right?
And I'll end it on this. So for the audience, for people, or somebody who, look, I started juicing February 4th. By February 28th, I was down about 23 pounds and a little over 20 inches off my entire body in 24 days. So it's possible, it's possible, and it is sustainable. You just have to find a way to make it sustainable for you. Like, you can fast and get off of fast and not gain all your weight back. You can do these things. You just have to figure out what works for you. And something that I've been saying when I do make videos, especially as of late, is what people have to realize is when you guys are watching our content, you have to take what you can take and take what works for you. Nobody is telling you to do exactly as Ashley does or do exactly what AM1 does. We're telling you this is what works for us. This is what you can incorporate into what you're doing, and let's see how it works for you. Because like you said earlier, life is literally an experiment. Why shouldn't you be experimenting with yourself? You willing to experiment with drugs? You willing to experiment with food? You willing to experiment with your clothes? With everything? Why not experiment with yourself? Like, you are the ultimate experiment. Do it with yourself. See what happens. And then now you have something to contribute to these sorts of conversations other than, I couldn't do that. How about you try first? Try first and then tell me what you can't do. Like, come on. Because before I did that Rolling 72, I would have been like, nah, I can't not eat for 3 days. 3 days? 3 days, Aaron? 3? You lying. Me? You lying. There's no way. And I would do 90 hours over 3 days? Yeah. Quit playing. Yeah. Quit
like
playing.
That.
Yes, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. It's all in your mind. If you need some support, let's figure out how we can do that. Maybe that needs to be the other avenue. How can we support you in your with your goals and what you're trying to accomplish? Because that's what really matters. What are you trying to do? Not what I'm trying to do. I'm doing what I think I need to do. Are you?
Well said. We're gonna leave it at that, because that shuts it down. But yeah, well, let's talk more about that, because you already see what it is. That lane right there. More people want those tools, that free energy, those free things, no excuses.
And this water ain't necessarily free, but it's super freaking cheap. I mean, like, you can't drink the tap water on no water fast now, y'all. No.
I'm just saying, fasting is free. Good sleep is free. Typically, walking is free. A lot of stuff people could be using to get healthy is free.
Free, exactly. They just convinced you that in order to live your best life, it has to be all about how much money you can spend on the things to do so. And that's just not true. It's just not true.
All right, Ashley. So I dropped your link to the Ashley W channel in the chat, so you guys go holler at that. I'd love to have you back on at some point. We'll circle back and talk more about what you're doing. If you the next move, if you're gonna do some more rolling fast or whatnot. But you already see what it is. I'm gonna be more active on this channel, and I have my other channel, AM1 Lifestyle. Y'all definitely go holler at that. But we're gonna shut it down and leave it at that. I appreciate y'all rocking with us. Actually, stick around for a second. We'll run the outro, and then I appreciate everybody rolling up on us. Ashley, thank you. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. Follow us on all social media at AM1 Lifestyle. Check me out on the website at am1lifestyle.com.